1 Samuel chapter 14. One day Jehonatan, the son of Shaul, said to the young men carrying his armor, "Come, let's go across to the garrison of the Philistine on the other side." But he didn't tell his father. Shaul was waiting at the far edge of Gibeah, under the pomegranate tree in Migron. The force with him numbered about 600 men. Achiah, the son of Ahituv, Kavad's brother, the son of Pinchas, the son of Eli, the Kohen of Adonai in Shiloh, was carrying a ritual vest. No one knew that Jehonatan had gone. Between the passes by which Jehonatan was trying to cross to the garrison of the Philistine, there was a rocky spur on one side and another rocky spur on the other side. The name of the one was Bozetz, and of the other Sinai. The one spur rose up on the north in front of Michmaz, and the other on the south in front of Geba. Jehonatan said to his armor-bearer, "Come on, let's go across to the garrison of these uncircumcised people. Maybe Adonai will do something for us, since Adonai can rescue with a few people as easily as with many." His armor-bearer replied, "Do everything you think you should. I'm with you, whatever you decide." Jehonatan said, "Here, we'll cross over to those men, and let them know we're there. If they say, 'Wait till we come to you,' we'll stand still where we are and not go up to them. But if they say, 'Come up to us,' we'll go on up, and that will be the sign that Adonai has given us victory over them." So both of them let their presence be known to the garrison of the Philistine. And the Philistine said, "Look, some Hebrews coming out of the holes they've been hiding in." Then the men of the garrison said to Jehonatan and his armor-bearer, "Come up to us, we want to show you something." Jehonatan told his armor-bearer, "Come up after me, for Adonai has headed them over to Israel." Jehonatan climbed up, using his hands as well as his feet, with his armor-bearer behind him. The Philistine fell before Jehonatan, and his armor-bearer followed him, finished them off. That first slaughter of about 20 men was accomplished by Jehonatan and his armor-bearer in a space only half as long as one side of the area a pair of oxen could plow in a day, about 200 yards. There was panic in the field camp among all the Philistine. Likewise, the garrison and the raiding party panicked. Besides all this, there was an earthquake. Thus it grew into panic caused by God. Shaul's men on watch in Givat Benjamin could see the enemy camp scattering and running in all directions. Shaul ordered and forced them to call the roll and see who was missing. So they called the roll and found Jehonatan and his armor-bearer not present. Shaul told Achiah, "Bring the ark of God here," for at that time the ark of God was with the people of Israel. But while Shaul was talking to the Kohen, the uproar in the camp of the Philistine continued and kept getting louder. Shaul said to the Kohen, "Put your hand down." Shaul and the entire force with him assembled and went to battle. But they found the Philistine all fighting each other in utter confusion. The Hebrews from the surrounding countryside, who had previously been with the Philistine and had gone up with them into the camp, deserted and went over to Israel with Shaul and Jehonatan. Likewise, on hearing that the Philistine were fleeing, all the men of Israel who had hidden themselves in the hills of Ephraim pursued them in battle. So Adonai saved Israel that day, and the battle spread as far as Bet Aven. Israel's soldiers had been driven to exhaustion that day, but Shaul issued this warning to the people: "A curse on any man who eats any food until evening, when I will have finished taking vengeance on my enemies." So none of the people even tasted food. Now the people came to a forest where there was a honeycomb on the ground. When the people had entered the forest, they saw that the honeycomb had honey dripping out, but no one put his hand to his mouth, because the people feared the oath. But Jehonatan hadn't heard his father charging the people with the oath, so he put out the end of the staff in his hand, dipped it in the honeycomb, and raised it to his mouth, whereupon his eyes lit up. But one of the people said in response, "Your father strictly charged the people with an oath, a curse on any man who eats any food today, even though the people are fainting with hunger." Jehonatan answered, "My father has brought trouble to the land. Just look how my eyes have lit up because I tasted a little of this honey. How much greater would the slaughter of the Philistine have been today, then, if the people had eaten freely of the spoil they found with their enemies?" That day they had attacked the Philistine from Michmash to Aijalon, but the people were very exhausted. So the people rushed at the spoil, seizing sheep, cows, and calves, slaughtering them on the ground, and eating the flesh with the blood. Shaul was told, "Look how the people are sinning against Adonai, eating with the blood." He said, "You have not kept faith. Roll a big stone to me immediately." Now Shaul said, "Go around among the people and tell them, each of you is to bring his cow and his sheep and slaughter them here." Then eat. Don't sin against Adonai by eating with the blood. So each person brought his animal with him that evening and killed it there. Shaul erected an altar to Adonai. It was the first altar that he erected to Adonai. Shaul said, "Let's go after the Philistine by night. We'll plunder them until dawn. We won't leave one of them alive." They answered, "Do whatever seems good to you." But the Kohen said, "Let's approach God here." Shaul consulted God. "Should I go down in pursuit of the Philistine? Will you hand them over to Israel?" But he didn't answer him that day. Shaul said, "Come here, all you heads of the people. Think carefully. Who has committed the sin today? For as Adonai Israel deliverer lives, even if it proves to be Yehonatan my son, he must be put to death." But no one among all the people answered him. Then he said to all Israel, "You be on one side, I and Yehonatan my son will be on the other side." The people replied to Shaul, "Do what seems good to you." Shaul said to Adonai, the God of Israel, "Who is right?" Yehonatan and Shaul were chosen by lot, and the people went free. Shaul said, "Cast lots between me and Yehonatan my son." Yehonatan was chosen. Then Shaul said to Yehonatan, "Tell me what you did." Yehonatan told him, "Yes, I tasted a little honey with the end of the staff in my hand. Here I am, I'm ready to die." Shaul said, "May God do the same to me, and more also, if you are not put to death, Yehonatan." But the people said to Shaul, "Must Yehonatan die, who has accomplished this great deliverance in Israel? Heaven forbid. As Adonai lives, not one hair of his head will fall to the ground, because he worked with God today." In this way the people rescued Yehonatan, so that he didn't die. Then Shaul stopped pursuing the Philistine, and the Philistine returned to their own territory. So Shaul took over the rulership of Israel. He fought against all his enemies on every side, against Moab, the people of Ammon, Edom, the kings of Soba, and the Philistine. No matter which way he turned, he defeated them. He demonstrated his strength by attacking Amalek, and he saved Israel from the power of those who were plundering them. The sons of Shaul were Yehonatan, Yavishi, and Malchishua, while the names of his two daughters were these: the names of the older Merav and of the younger Michal. Shaul's wife was named Achino, the daughter of Achimaatz. The commander of his army was named Abner, the son of Ner, Shaul's uncle. Kish was the father of Shaul, and Ner, the father of Abner, was the son of Abiel. As long as Shaul lived there was bitter war against the Philistine. Whenever Shaul saw any strong or courageous man, he recruited him into his service.